I don't know.
Hey, everybody. You don't know what?
I have my hair.
Hair issues?
You wouldn't understand.
I wouldn't understand because I don't notice that I have hair issues.
No, because your hair is always just like perfectly coiffed.
Right. So we got a lot. I always start off by saying we got a lot to talk. Of course, we got a lot to talk about. Fucking shit's crazy, and I know shit's crazy in this world. Of course, we have a lot to talk about. But yeah, I titled this episode. They're not even hiding it anymore. And I'm about to show you the video that shows these fuckers, these fucking sociopaths. Sorry, coming in hot. They aren't even hiding it anymore.
Compared to other days when you have a slow ramp up.
Sometimes I start a little mellow.
Really?
Not really. Thank you everybody for being here. Please take a second, everybody. Say hello in the comments section. If you haven't already, join our free email list by texting the word redacted to 33777. That'll get you on the free email list. I really appreciate everybody being here, and I am the most censored comedian in America. My my main YouTube page, completely banned globally. Thousands of videos banned globally. So thank you all for helping make it so that I am not obliterated, lost to the sands of time. Was the poetry there good?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually we will all be lost to the sands of time, but right now you're here, and that's beautiful.
All right. Well, let's just get into this since we have all these stories to go through. And yeah, thanks everybody for being here. It's really great to see you. Holly, Neil, Iron Candy, Gene, Sean. Iron Candy.
Sounds like a hot topic offshoot.
All right, so the first story we're getting into is something said by Jamie Dimon, the fucking douche at the top of JP Morgan Chase. He's been the CEO for a good long time now. And, you know, as you can imagine, to get to that position, you have to be a sociopath. There has never been probably a head of JP Morgan Chase who wasn't a sociopath. Now, he was being questioned, as were some of the other big bank higher-ups. And let's be honest, these are the people that really control our system. They rule our government, the big banks and big oil and it's big ag and a few others. And so when they go in front of Congress to answer questions, it's largely theater. Very little ever comes out of it. Very little is done because of it. But it's a theater where Congress gets to pretend we're holding the big banks accountable. Look at us. And they never do shit. Now, this is exactly the same, so nothing will come out of this. However, something interesting was said that I feel shows us, shows all of us just the level of sociopathy that is in these motherfuckers.
Sociopathy.
Yes, straight in your face, full frontal sociopathy. Now, he was being questioned by Rashida Tlaib, and, you know, I'm not one of these people that's going to sit here and be like, the squad is our only hope. They have betrayed you and us on every level because that's what Democrats do. So this is not about, oh, wonderful Rashida Tlaib. This is about just looking at the answer that Jamie Dimon gives. And yeah.
Well, I'll say this afterwards.
And I just wanted to give one more thing that I don't think many of you needed to hear. But of course, we're in a climate crisis. We're going to talk more in this episode about drought going on in Mexico. We're going to talk about other aspects of the climate crisis. People are suffering. So, of course, we need to stop fossil fuels. We need to stop big ag. We need to stop the destruction of our planet, big lumber. All of those things. Obvious to me, if you're even moderately rational, if you have 2 brain cells kicking around in there, then you know that. So I just thought I should say that before we show this clip by, Jamie Rashid Tlaib questioning Jamie Dimon. So here we go.
You have all committed, as you all know, to transition the emissions from lending and investment activities to align with pathways to net zero in 2050. Do you know what the International Energy Agency has said is required to meet our global 2050 net zero targets of limiting global temperature rise to 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 degrees Celsius? So no new fossil fuel production starting today. That's like zero. So I would like to ask all of you and go down the list, because again, you all have agreed to doing this. Please answer with a simple yes or no. Does your bank have a policy against funding new oil and gas products? Mr. Diamond?
Absolutely not, and that would be the road to hell for America.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Wait, what is she?
I mean, we can play what she says, but it's kind of not really important, but I'll play it in a second. But no, we will not stop giving billions, millions and billions to big oil to fund new projects, new exploitation of oil, thereby signing the death warrant for humanity. And it would be the to do so.
Which is ironic because,
of course, it's literally burning up.
Right. I'd also like to point out that, yes, it's a good question if there was some kind of ramifications for the answer. So, as Lee pointed out, these are theatrical hearings. So, when she asks that question, first of all, if you were a sociopath that had any interest in hiding your sociopathy, it's an easy question to answer. Yes, we're looking into it. We've got a whole team of people.
Right. You could dodge.
I mean, it's so fucking easy to dodge that question. Like, I literally, like, it wouldn't take any effort. And so the fact that, of course, the problem is that no one's ever kept to it. So, for instance, let's say that Bank of America answers and says, yeah, actually, we do have plans. And, I would, yes. And then somebody would check back with them and make sure that they're doing it. But of course, that's not what they do. So again, it's even easier to dodge. You could even just fucking lie and be like, yeah, absolutely. I don't fucking care. Because no one's ever going to call you on it. No one's going to be like, yeah, that thing that you said, that didn't happen. So really, if it were me, I feel like...
But he's not a politician. And that's why he doesn't need to do that. Because the big banks, own the politicians. So they have no fear that... His greater fear is that big oil might start to not like him. Like that's and it's not a huge fear of his, but it's a slightly bigger fear. But he has no fear that Congress is going to do, like you're saying, Congress is not going to do shit to him. So why even hide it? Like it doesn't mean
that's a good point.
Mean anything to him. But I will say there's two ways to view what he just said, which is the path to hell for America would be us not signing, more giant loans and funding big oil. And he's either saying that that's the path to hell for America because America is based on free market, right? This bullshit term, free enterprise. And I would be, which is really the freedom of corporate America to destroy everything, eat everything, and shit out. Just fucking leave piles of turds around America after they eat all of our resources. That is the free market. They have the freedom to do that. And it's possible he's calling it the path to hell for America because in his fucking sociopath, free market, the bullshit brain, he thinks that if you restrain corporate America even slightly, then you are going the path of, I don't know what he would call it, communism or socialism or whatever he would say, which is all bullshit. But of course you want to restrain corporate America because corporate America will destroy everything. Now, we now live in an advanced capitalist, late stage capitalist, advanced empire where the corporate state owns the government. It is inverted totalitarian structure. So Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase actually own Congress. It's the reverse of the situation it should be. We, the citizens, should have a system where we would, if you were going to have corporations, which I don't think they should exist, but if you were going to have them, we should restrain the corporations. Instead, it's the reverse. They restrain Congress. They tell Congress what to do. So that's one way he may be saying it's a path to hell to America. The other is that it's possible he's actually showing a deeper understanding or a deeper discussion, which is the truth is America loses the majority of our power the moment the petrodollar stops. Based on oil. Like it's in the fucking word, petro. Our dollar has power. And I've been saying this more and more because I feel like people need to hear it more and more. And most people are not talking about it. Even independent media isn't talking about it. But our dollar has massive power because all of the petroleum, and now Russia's changing that, but all of the petroleum is sold in dollars. So therefore, that makes the dollar sought after. That makes the dollar powerful. It means that America can print all the money we want and the dollar still has power, meaning we can spend $1 trillion a year on our military, our death machine, and still the dollar has power. The moment that stops, the moment either we move off petroleum or OPEC stops selling it in dollars, the US dollar loses a lot of its buying power, maybe a crazy amount. And so he could be saying it's the path to hell for America because God forbid we get off the petrodollar. Now, of course, you and I understand that if we don't get off the petrodollar, all is lost. Like if we keep exploiting, using big oil, using petroleum, we all die. And we're going to talk more about the climate crisis in a few minutes. But so we understand the true path to hell is staying on the petrodollar. He views it as the opposite. So I think those are, I don't know which of those two ways he means it, but.
Well, I don't know that. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation, but I don't know that it really matters because it's very clear that either way, it's horrific. And again, either way, there's absolutely nothing Congress can do about that. Like, you'd think in any kind of functioning government, I'm not even talking about democracy, republic, fuck whatever you want to call it, a functioning government, if someone in control of these levers of power, like vis-a-vis funding fossil fuel projects and funding what we are very well aware of is killing the planet or killing our future on the planet, you'd think that if somebody with those levers of power was very straightforward about the fact that they were going to continue to push for that, in a functioning government, the Congress would be able to be like, well, fuck this guy, and we're going to do something about it. But of course, that is not the system that we have. So,
right.
And then there's another problem that I have with this. I mean, not that anybody fucking watches C-SPAN. I don't even know how you found this thing. I mean, like, but I mean, it's just that people watching this might get a feeling that, oh, something's going to happen to this guy because he said that. And this is kind of the problem that happens with, the squad and things like that, is because they say shit. They say, they ask these kind of questions and people are like, oh, that was a gotcha question. Like, yeah, she's on our side. It's like,
that's the theater. Yeah.
Right. And that's the problem.
They should do it while juggling. Yeah.
But it's like, it can create the facade, the mirage of a democracy, the mirage of things actually working for you. Like, oh, Tlaib's got it. I don't really need to get into the streets and protest or, strike or anything like that because she's asking the tough questions. But none of this fucking matters. Nobody went home that day with any sort of ramifications for what they asked or what they answered.
Yeah.
So that is another problem that I have with this, is that we shouldn't ever watch these proceedings and think that it's like, how many times has fucking Zuckerberg testified before Congress? Has anything happened with Facebook? I mean, it's like, who the fuck?
But ironically, the reason they keep having Zuckerberg in is because they feel he's not shutting down anti-US reality enough. Like, he hasn't shut down discussion that is outside of the Overton window, the allowable thought that you see on CNN or Fox News enough. And now he has done it a lot, right? I'm shadow banned on Facebook. Right. I have 330,000 followers. No one sees my posts. So he's done it a lot, but not enough for them. So they keep bringing him in front to say, you need to cut down on fake news. But to them, what's fake news? Oh, it's anything that criticizes the American empire. Right. What we're doing right now is fake news, right? All right. I promised to play the rest of the clip, which is only 30 more seconds. So I'll do that now for y'all.
Because again, you all have agreed to doing this. Please answer with a simple yes or no. Does your bank have a policy against funding new oil and gas products? Mr. Diamond?
Absolutely not. And that would be the road to hell for America.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Sir, you know what? Everybody that got relief from student loans has a bank account with your bank should probably take out their account and close their account. The fact that you're not even there to help relieve many of the folks that are in debt, extreme debt because of student loan debt, and you're out there criticizing it. You have all admitted.
That was such a weird pivot.
I don't know if she's pivoting because earlier in their earlier in their conversation, maybe they were talking about student loans, so maybe it didn't seem as much of a pivot there.
How about everybody everybody
take your money out?
Right,
I know. That's what I was thinking. Is
What?
like, why just focus on the student loans? Just tell. She should have said, "Hey, all of America, remove your money from J.P. Morgan Chase because fuck this guy."
Right. Like, why can't we just be fucking honest about it? Like, hey, this guy wants you all to die in a fucking drought, in extreme floods, in extreme, like, fuck this guy. Like, why the fuck? I mean, is it just because you can't say fuck on C-SPAN?
I don't know if you can or not. But no, it's because she, even if she's not funded, probably the reason she's willing to even ask a question like this, she's probably not funded by JP Morgan Chase, but she is funded by, various other banks, maybe smaller banks. She's funded by some of these corporate entities. And if she were to say to one of the largest banks in the country, fucking everybody in America, take your money out of JP Morgan Chase, not only would probably these other entities withdraw their funding of her campaigns, but then Chase may actually devote themselves to funding her opponents. So even if a certain politician is not funded by insert, fill in the blank, big banks, big ag, whatever, if they were to really go full frontal against this large entity, big oil, if they were to spend every day saying, fuck big oil, fucking destroy them, big oil would then spend all of their money, which is all of the money in the world, to fund their opponent in the next primary and destroy that person. So they go easy even if they're not funded by these people.
Right.
So, and by the way, we're going to, right at the end of this episode today, I'm going to play the new episode of The Most Censored News. That's my other show. It's about 9 minutes long, and it's about how big oil actually gets subsidized by government money to the tune of $11 million a minute. A minute. So that's what we'll play at the end of today's episode. Do you have anything to add for next topic?
I just found out that she's funded by Apple. That's interesting.
Well, there you go. And see, if she were, it's not like Apple's big banks. I get that. But
I mean, not totally funded. They gave her $13,000, but she only took, she didn't get more than $15,000 from any one donor. So,
well, I don't know. If you aren't going through dark money packs,
right, yeah.
There are restrictions under the amount
course.
so you're not going to, even if you looked up fucking the worst of the worst, Mitch McConnell, it's not going to say $100 million from JP Morgan Chase. So,
right. Yeah, no.
Sorry. But Apple's not a big bank. But if she were to go hard on big banks, and I mean harder than what you just saw, the entities that fund and run Apple are intertwined. This is corporate America. They're intertwined with JP Morgan Chase. So I've done extensive coverage on BlackRock and Vanguard, and BlackRock owns, they're one of the largest shareholders of Apple. They're also one of the largest shareholders in JP Morgan Chase. So BlackRock could come and say to Apple, stop funding Rashida Tlaib. They have them all roped together.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to next topic. Oh, I wanted to get this in there because we mentioned climate change with obviously this fucking, what's a good term for now? Douche canoe? Are we on to douche canoe?
I like the word douche canoe, yes. Why? Who are we talking about?
Can someone just make that a GIF? I like the word douche canoe, yes.
What are we talking about, though? Who are we talking about? I mean, I don't want to call...
Jamie Dimon.
Oh, yes.
By the way, more proof. We're in a fucking dumb simulation. His name's...
I know.
I get that it doesn't have a D at the end, but his name's Diamond, and he runs the largest bank. And the guy that runs...
Madoff.
The guy... And Madoff. And the guy that runs BlackRock, his last name is Fink, which the definition is a detestable person. Are you fucking kidding me? This is a bad simulation. Simulation needs to come up with better last names. By the way, in some cultures, like I think in Britain and some other areas, the word camp means witty. So now it also can mean gay, but
really?
Yeah.
Camp can mean gay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, in Sydney, Australia.
Stop.
In Sydney, Australia, because I was there performing once and I walked down the street and there's a giant lit up sign that says camp. And it's like the gay district of town. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Okay. So I wanted to add this because we were talking about climate change and we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but
such a missed opportunity that you're not gay then.
I've really missed out on the on the gay boat. You know, I can switch now if that's something I can do for my career. If that's going to help, all right.
I feel like everyone should try. Don't knock it till you try it.
Don't knock knockers till you've tried them. So, TV News did more stories on Queen Elizabeth's death in 2 weeks than they did on climate change in 2 years. Years.
This reminds me of the fact that corporate media did more coverage of the douche canoe's trip up to space. Was it Bezos?
Bezos.
Than they did on climate change
For the entire year.
For the entire year.
Yeah, in 24 hours. They did more coverage of Bezos going to space for 12 seconds than they did on climate change for an entire year. So a survey of CNN, CBS, NBC, and ABC. And by the way, I like that he leaves out the right-wing networks because he's like,
yeah,
I'll do a fair survey of the networks that are supposedly covering climate change. Whereas Fox has done more reports on climate change because they do reports on how it's not real or whatever the fuck.
But they say the words more often.
They say the words way more often than the other networks. Anyway, and ABC finds 425 individual stories about Queen Elizabeth's death since September 7th and 331 total stories on climate change since September 2020. CNN did 270 segments on her death. 270.
What could you possibly say?
Well, hold on. There was the she's dead, and then there was the yes, she's really dead, and then there was the no, seriously, she's stone cold dead, and then there was the she was alive for a long time before she was dead, and then there was the look, they put her in a box dead. That's just a few of them. CNN did 270 segments on her death. ABC News did 55, NBC 42, CBS 58. By comparison, from 2 years ago, these same outlets ran a total over the past 2 years of 331 segments on climate change. CNN 184, ABC 48, NBC 31, and CBS 68. I mean, just unbelievable. Unbelievable over 2 years. And it's like, climate change, climate crisis, climate catastrophe is literally the number one threat to all of us. We're getting close to it's almost a tie with the fucking U.S. pushing U.S. and Russia, but the U.S. started it with our fucking coup in Ukraine, but pushing it for nuclear war.
So maybe these people are really just trying to do us a favor. If we all die of a nuclear Armageddon, then we don't have to live through this slow suicide that is climate chaos.
There you go. I know. I did a segment a few weeks ago on how everybody likes to talk about what's going to end humanity, like what's the end going to look like, and
what do you have, like an over under? Like, do you have a pool going at your office?
I have a couple of pools going, yeah, and on my fantasy death team, and you know, people are like, oh, it'll be nuclear weapons, it'll be an asteroid. And I'm like, no, it's fucking idiocy. Fucking dummies are killing us. It is so clearly fucking idiocy will be the end of us.
Yeah, you know, I think part of that is also adaptability. And I think what's totally beautiful in a very morbid way is that we have survived this long as human beings because of our ability to adapt different situations. So our ability to work together and our ability to shift in different, not only climates, but different ecosystems and all of this shit. And now what's killing us is our ability to adapt to ever more frightening and fucked up realities under capitalism and its accompaniment of climate chaos. Like the fact that we just accept these things over and over and over again. And it's so fucking dark. Yeah.
And then those of us talking about it have our YouTube channels banned globally.
No.
So here we are. Folks, please take a second to hit thumbs up and like and all that stuff. Please even type a comment in, even if you're not feeling like talking, just type a comment in that says, hey, everybody, loving this shit, whatever the fuck, because actually more comments actually then tells YouTube and the Facebooks and the Rumbles and shit, hey, this is popular. People are talking about it. And then they show it to more people. All that shit. I fucking hate it. I hate it. But it's how the world works now. So please leave a comment, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. In about 10 more minutes or so, this stream will become only rumble.com/Lee Camp. Rumble.com/Lee Camp. So it's free to watch there. There's no charge. There's no sign up fee. None of that shit. Just rumble.com/Lee Camp. You can go watch and join us there and all the rest. And you'll get to see the new episode of the Most Censored News as well. All right, going on to the next story. Very important to us. At the moment, it's kind of a sad story, but maybe we'll turn this into an uplifting story. So would you like to do the honors?
Sure. So if y'all are not familiar
I'll show that in a second.
with By Any Means Necessary, it is a very rad radio show and podcast that's hosted by Sean Blackman and Jacqueline Lookman. And one of the hosts, Jackie.
It's an epic show, honestly.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. And they do like 3 hours every day, which I don't understand. I can't do 3 hours of anything.
And if you need a podcast, it's also on podcast. So if you need a podcast, it's 3 hours a day.
And they're also on Rumble. So for people watching at Rumble.
By Any Means Necessary.
Just a really phenomenal show. Both Lee and I have been guests on there. They cover phenomenal stories that you won't hear anywhere else. And so it's just a rad show. And I wanted to share this because Jackie said that she would like us to share it with our networks. And so if you are familiar with the show, if you're not familiar with the show, Jackie is going through some health issues and she actually needs a new kidney. So she has asked folks to share this link. And basically this link is information about trying to find a donor, trying to find a kidney donor. And so there's links to see if you're qualified to donate. And obviously you can share it and just spread the word. And that raises the likelihood that she will find a kidney quicker.
Yep. Even just sharing it would be a huge thing. So, but yeah, go check it out. And honestly, like, even if you can't, do anything beyond,
I'm going to post the link.
Yeah, post the link. Even if you can't do anything beyond just sharing it, you should check out By Any Means Necessary because you'll get to know Jackie and she does a fucking amazing job. Like, I'd be very surprised if most of you listen to By Any Means Necessary and you aren't like, oh, this is fucking great. So just check it out. Give it a chance. We knew her, or know her personally in Washington, D.C., and just a wonderful human being. And she's been through a lot of shit, a lot of tragedy in the past few years. And this is just another thing thrown at her. But also this says a lot about our healthcare system in this country, our sick care system. Because not only do people have to turn to social media to fund their healthcare, to avoid healthcare bankruptcy. Often you'll see people with GoFundMes to get their kid with cancer, medicine they need.
That's the most common use of GoFundMe is to pay for medical bills.
That's the new, Congress has said they have a new healthcare plan. It's called GoFundMe. So they're announcing that. It's very exciting. And yeah, it just says a lot about the United States system that people end up in this position. They have to go to social media to try and deal with this. We have another friend who the health insurance company, whoever the fuck, wouldn't fund his cancer treatments that had already shown to be working. Like he was taking chemo, it was working, it was saving his life. And they were going to cut it off and he didn't have the money to pay whatever, thousands of dollars. And so because all of us around him, friends and such, tweeted it out and shared it, the health insurance company got just enough annoyed and worried that it would become a thing, become a trend, that there would be articles about it, that they agreed finally to fund his chemo treatments, which is like, they're already fucking shown to be working. I mean, just insanity, like insanity.
Well, and even if it it's insurance is the only thing that you are consistently like you are mandated. You have to fucking pay for it. And yet, as soon as you need it, you can't get it. So it's the only thing that we're expected to pay for consistently, but never actually access. What the fuck is that about? That is so fucked. And these numbers are a few years old. But actually, another cool website to look at is healthoverprofit.org. And one of the facts that they have listed there is that in, I think it may be like 2017 or something, 80% of people who filed for bankruptcy due to medical bills had insurance.
Yep. And
So what the fuck is insurance doing?
Yep. And 50% of everybody who gets cancer will lose their entire life savings.
Yeah.
Survive or don't survive. 50%, over 50% will lose their entire life savings, whether they had insurance, whether they didn't have insurance, won't fucking matter. Entire life savings gone because you had cancer.
And this is something that an unhoused person pointed out to me once in LA. He was like, everybody who walks by me and acts like I'm shit and I'm worthless, they are one or maybe two emergencies away from being me.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that is the fucking United States. Like, that is this country. And so it's like, you look, for people who do, I'm assuming that people watching this don't, but like for people who look down at like people who are on the streets, and you are so close to being that person. The net that is keeping you from that position is so thin, and it continues to become more and more threadbare the longer this shitty system rolls forward. Like, it is fucking mind-boggling. And sorry, that was very depressing. But on the flip side of that, this is why you can't vote yourself out of this shitty situation. There has to be mass mobilization, and no, like, checking a box is not going to fix it. And so that, I don't even know if that was the brighter side. I'm fucking depressing is basically what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Don't invite me to parties, because I will be the asshole that like just, clinks her wine glass. Like, did you guys know that conservation efforts in Africa are actually incredibly destructive to both ecosystems and indigenous tribes? I'm that person. Also, I have a segment about that if you want to listen to it on Project Censored Radio.
Check out Project Censored. By the way, you have several podcasts to check out. Eleanor co-hosts Project Censored. This one, which you're watching right now, this live stream, is also a podcast called Common Censored. So if you like this, but you can't always get the visual, don't have time to sit down in front of the computer and watch us, then check out the podcast Common Censored on all your podcast platforms. I wanted to address, James said, and I don't know if he was making a joke about the word profit. He said hospitals are nonprofit, misspelled like seeing into the future. But just, let's assume he was joking. So I'm not going after James here. But I just want people to know, most hospitals are not nonprofit. Like, there are boards that expect to make a profit from the hospital. Their insurance. Huh?
Maybe it was a joke.
Yeah, maybe it was a joke.
Okay.
I'm agreeing. Okay. But there are companies that are making profit from everything in the hospital, even if you don't have insurance and the hospital does treat you some. Like, there are, like, if you were to go into an emergency room, they would often treat you if you had a broken arm, and they try and get money out you. And if you didn't have any money and you didn't have insurance, they would ultimately like have to eat the cost. But they are making money out of most of this shit.
Well, and a lot of places actually do, like, the government will subsidize the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's not like the hospital itself or the corporation that owns it needs to eat that cost. So
I'm just putting, before we move on, I'm putting Becky Lukemon's link in here one more time.
It says Jacques.
Oh, sorry.
Jacques is not someone who needs a kidney. I don't think.
Oh, that's why I did it wrong. Because if you call her Jacqueline, her full name, you cut off the ending. It's Jacques. Anyway, support Jacques Lukeman too. I feel like everyone should support him as well. All right, so let's see. All right, so I'm trying to decide if we. I want to. You know what? I want to do this. I want to give you guys a good news story before
that's so sweet of you.
before we finish up the last 20 minutes at rumble.com/Lee Camp. So,
See, folks, you have to deal with me, but at least you have Lee to give you the
to give you the good news.
yeah.
We, you know, we're a light in people's lives. Nothing from
no
you.
one has ever said that to me. I realize I've gotten compliments before, but no one has ever said that to me.
Did you say compliments? Do you get compliments?
You know what? Eat a bag of dicks. I am working. You know what? I speak more
See,
languages
folks,
than you.
that is why you come to us, because very few co-hosts will tell their fellow hosts to go eat a bag of dicks. It just doesn't happen that often. Even on the shock fucking DJ shock jock shit. They're
what?
just a shock jock.
No, I've never heard that phrase.
Shock jock? It's like how
You just saying it louder doesn't help.
Shock jock. Shock jock. I'm doing the thing like when someone doesn't speak your language.
Right.
How do I get
Like
to the airport?
they're not deaf. They just don't speak your language.
Yeah, like Howard Stern is a shock jock.
That's what you call someone who's a douche canoe on the radio?
Okay, we're using douche canoe too much. We
No.
gotta move on.
I've only used it twice.
How about
I've only used it twice. Come on.
how about a
twice over the course of an hour? I feel like I
how,
have a
how
right.
about how about a dick tricycle?
Does that mean it's a tricycle made out of a dick, or it's a dick on a tricycle?
Let your imagination lead you wherever it does.
All right. I mean, I don't like it because it's too many syllables.
You know, like dick trike.
I don't know.
This fucking dick trike.
No.
No?
No, it doesn't have the
All right.
Douche canoe just feel. It has a good mouth feel.
Dick rowing machine.
Can we crowdsource some different ones?
Testicle stationary bike.
So it has to be a genitalia and then a mode of transportation. Is that what I'm understanding here?
Well, yeah, but douche canoe is not genitalia, so I guess you could get more creative.
No,
with
that's
it.
true, but it has to do with genitalia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
It's got to be related.
so how about like a?
It's got to be dick or vag adjacent.
How about
Absolutely.
How about how about a tampon scooter?
Tampon scooter. That sounds like that's someone's job. Like he scoots tampons. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe he helps
I
people
have
out.
never needed a scooter.
Maybe when they're not staying in, he scoots them back in. I don't know. You said it.
I was thinking of the scoot, like the the thing that you ride.
Only you called it scoot. The e-scooters, the electric scooters.
Yeah.
Tampon electric scooter.
That's way too many syllables.
That sounds like a bad band. All right. This is the good news story that I was trying to get to 8 hours before fucking tampon scooter over here.
Looking in the chat, I think people are appreciating tampon scooter more than dick tricycle.
How about poop scooter?
That's not anything to do with genitalia. It could be like a dildo scooter. It could be something that like
Someone said tampon rascal, which that sounds like a guy who runs around stealing tampons. Oh, you tampon rascal! Oh, you.
A coot scoot. That's awesome.
It shouldn't be a cooch scoot. Cooch.
Yes, that's true.
Cooch scooch.
Cooch.
Cooch scoot. Now, an electric cooch scoot, you do not want to get involved in those. Those are awful.
A testicle toboggan. All right, I'm sorry. These are brilliant. It's so seasonal.
Hold on. First of all, I have to remove this story, which clearly we're not addressing. And now I need to highlight all of these. Gooch razor?
Wait, you missed where's the testicle toboggan?
I don't know.
It's up.
This person just wrote even more depressing.
Wait, is the testicle toboggan?
Oh, okay. Cooter scooter. There you go.
Is it? A beaver bicycle. No?
I like beaver bicycle, but that sounds like something for like the animal.
Could you teach a beaver how to ride a bike?
We're talking about the animal or we're talking about vaginas?
Well, vaginas don't really. Well.
Okay, this guy is pictured with guns and he says he's the prostate patrol. So,
Ow, I'm glad I don't know
All
about
right.
a prostate exam.
I don't know if we're gaining viewers or losing them, but let's move on.
I just want everyone to know that you've brought some wonderful light into my life. You know, they say every time that you laugh really hard, you live a few extra minutes longer. So you just elongated my life, everyone. Thank you for doing that.
By 6 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Every minute counts.
Louisiana court, I wanted to give you good news, but please, everybody, go to rumble.com/LeeCamp so you can keep hanging out with us. Louisiana court strikes a blow to Formosa's giant plastic plant. And in Louisiana, a years-long battle to stop the chemical company Formosa from building a massive petrochemical complex along the Mississippi River in southern Louisiana swung in favor of residents on Wednesday when a state district judge withdrew the air permits that the company needs to operate. The Taiwan-based, and I love that because, you know, Taiwan is part of China. Both the Taiwan government and the Chinese government say it's part of China, along with almost every country on the planet say it's part of China. So this is a China company that is about to dump all kinds of pollution onto Louisiana residents. And here's the thing, is I'm not anti-China the way that other people are, because I think most of it is our propaganda. However, should I tell you something about corporate control of our world, that while all we're getting is anti-China propaganda, here they are about to let, hopefully it'll be stopped, but about to let a giant Chinese plastics company just pollute the shit out of Louisiana. Anyway, Taiwan-based chemical giant first announced its plan to build the $9.4 billion petrochemical complex. Sure, there'll be no pollution. It's all clean. No pollution there. On a sprawling 2,400-acre site in St. James Parish in 2018. If approved, the so-called, are you ready for the name? Do you want to try and guess the name of the project?
Oh God, are we going back to names?
Just one guess of the name of the project.
Clean Air Louisiana.
You're actually very close.
Yeah, I figured.
The Sunshine Project.
Shut your face. Okay, yeah.
Would have been one of the largest and most expensive industrial projects in the state's history.
Which is saying something, because Louisiana has a very long,
dude, they're the worst,
disgusting history.
The worst. And Governor John Bell Edwards celebrated it as a boon to jobs. Would you like to guess what party John Bell Edwards is?
I already know.
Just because you assume it, or you know?
No, because I've worked in Louisiana. He's a Democrat.
Yeah. So fucking Democrat.
I know my Louisiana shit, okay?
Okay, first of all, if you knew Louisiana, then you know it's Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yeah.
And Nolens. Which I like that because it's also, I feel like, a way to say no to something. You want to come to this barbecue with all these people you don't like? Nolens. Nolens. He celebrated as a boon for economic development that would bring 1,200 new jobs to the region. 1,200. Yeah. Think of how tiny that is, considering the number of people in Louisiana, and now they're going to fucking kill them all with petrochemicals. But the project encountered swift opposition from the local community. St. James is perched on a bend of the lower Mississippi River in a region known as Cancer Alley.
And actually,
for its concentration of plants that spew cancer-causing chemicals.
St. James Parish is predominantly Black. I don't know if they mentioned that in this article. Is majority Black. And a few years ago, when we were fighting the Bayou Bridge pipeline, which is the tail end of the Dakota Access Pipeline, there was a push to obviously there was a push to stop the pipeline, but there was a push just to give residents of St. James an evacuation route if there were something to happen, which it always does. If something were to happen with the project, that it was going to explode, it was leaking, there was a huge environmental disaster, because that always fucking happens. They were like, if we can't stop this, the least you could fucking do for this community is give them an evacuation route. And the pipeline company was like, no, we don't fucking care. So not only are these parishes like St. James, which is kind of like it, like in the heart of Cancer Alley, not only are they subjected to these horrific chemicals, but they're also not even fucking given a way out. Like they can't fucking escape. So again, like when we talk about sacrifice zones, when we talk about like the connection between the way that Black communities are treated now and how that relates to slavery, the like it is grotesque and horrific to think that just like during the days of slavery and throughout up until today, there is no escape for a lot of these people. And I'm not talking about like theoretically like, oh, you can't escape the situation that you were born into, like poverty. No, like I literally mean that if a pipeline were to burst, you don't have an evacuation route because the pipeline company doesn't give a flying fuck about you. And so this is the lived reality of residents in places like St. James Parish. And so this is, I think that context is also important for understanding the continued fight against these projects. Like they never get any fucking time to sit back because there's always another one of these projects. I mean, obviously this one is particularly large, but there's always another project, whether it be a brand new project or things like, oh, we're bringing it up to date, which means that they're installing new systems, they're widening pipelines, like this kind of shit. So that context I think is important.
Yeah, and the part of the reason this became Cancer Alley is both because these people are not white, which matters in terms of like, oh, well, it'll be harder for them to get attention from national media outlets and things like that. But also they just don't have the money or the political connections to fight a lot of these things. So if we're going to go and destroy a community and pollute them and cause cancer, where should we do it? Well, let's do it in the places where the people are already beaten down. They already don't have much money. They don't have much political clout, and it'll just be easy. And we'll be less likely to deal with a national media fury over like the fact that we're going there and the fact that we're doing this and polluting and killing people. So. Mm-hmm. All right, folks, the rest of this live stream, and we got more stories to come, is at rumble.com/LeeCamp. I just posted a link in the comment section. Even if you're not going to join us there, I hope you will become a member at LeeCamp.net. But all right, let's keep moving here. And if you want to start talking about this story.
Sure. So, well, should I wait until you change? Okay.
Go for it.
So right now there is a catastrophic drought happening in Mexico, and I'm not going to say, oh, it's a historic drought, because that's not a thing anymore. In order for something
1,000-year drought.
In order for something to be historic, it has to be something that hasn't happened in